I like magic and fantasy. There's no way around that. Even more, I like dark, gritty magic and fantasy. So, The Witch and the Beast caught my eye in particular this season. The premise is that Guido and Ashaf are a witch hunting duo looking to lift the curse that's been placed on Guido. Unfortunately, neither of them knows which witch is the one that placed the curse, so they have to go around chasing leads in hopes of finding the right one. An interesting premise, especially to me since it's more a modern magic setting. This is one thing I immediately liked about the series. Where too many fantasy anime try to bring modern into the magic, this series takes the magic into the modern. It's a world not too different from the one we live in, with a more gothic aesthetic that has magic as just another part of it. Nobody is freaked out by magic, monsters, or witches existing. It's just another part of life. Honestly, when blending modern society and fantasy magic, it's usually done in a way that feels anachronistic, because the fantasy element is dominant in the world building and it tries to provide a magic/tech basis for why modern phenomenon can exist within a fantasy-esque world. But the way The Witch and the Beast does it is far better in my opinion. The story presents itself at first as an action series, but then starts to take on a sort of magical detective series that has me intrigued by how it's playing out. I like the idea of the characters using their abilities and knowledge to work their way through the mysteries while hunting down evil mages and magic criminals. This seems to be mostly the structure of the series so far. Now, mind you, I'm only a couple of episodes in, with each small arc being a singular job that they get sent out on to handle. Now, it's notably more grim and cynical than a lot of the other fantasy stuff you'll see, which, given that it's a seinen, makes perfect sense. The whole murder mystery of the series plays somewhat well into that darker take on magic as you're dealing with serial killers using magic. It's not afraid of disfigurement and cruelty, but it still feels like it doesn't really utilize those aspects to their fullest potential yet. Sure, Guido has an immortal body that can get ripped to shreds and be just fine, but any scene where that could be taken advantage of in full, it feels like it's lacking something on the production end. And that's really where my problems start, because where the aesthetic of the story and the world intrigues me, I find myself incapable of really caring about the story or the characters thus far. Both Guido and Ashaf have some interesting powers and twisted personalities, but none of those things really feel like they're utilized to their fullest potential. I like the characters on a surface level so far, but the anime has not really given me a moment where I feel like it just pops out to me. Ashaf is cunning and manipulative. He's more calculating than anything, and his sharp wit makes him a much more interesting character than this anime seems to have a right to. Guido is a total berserker who doesn't like to do much other than eat and bash skulls in. The character tends to be aggressive and brash most of the time, in stark contrast to their partner. I think it makes an interesting duo, but again, this anime feels like it's wasting them at times. In terms of progression, I'm not really all that enamored with the idea of being a few episodes in and the only thing we really know is that Guido hunts witches because of the curse and Ashaf does so because of the order he belongs to. It does a bit of world building and stuff by introducing some names for other magical groups and giving an idea as to what Ashaf and Guido do for a job. And on top of that, it also introduced the idea of specialized magic items like grimoires. But it doesn't really give us a solid lead on where the story is going, or even seems to go. As of right now, I feel like it suffers from taking on too small of issues, and that makes it feel like it doesn't have any direction to it, especially since there doesn't seem to be any major backbone to the story outside of kill a specific witch, but we don't know which one. The concept and characters I like, but the production side of the series is really making it hard for me to get into this. Like, you give me some potentially interesting action sequences, but it all feels so half-assed, and at that point I'm like, why do I care? It's all concept and no delivery thus far. So all in all, I have to say that this is currently like a 6 right now. It has my interest for the concept of it and some of the things it's done really well. However, that interest is waning fast. I need a twist or some more plot to really get into it, because otherwise it feels like it's a wasted opportunity.